Bitcoin is looking much worse than I originally thought. And I've been telling you that when things break, they will break very fast. I said that, I mentioned a couple of times that we're getting to sub 60,000 from about 78,000. I've been onto this hill, and we are almost there. We just touched 61,380 overnight. And even though the short is looking good, and even though I've been expecting 60,000, I'm actually not sure this is going to be the bottom, and I'm not sure that this is going to be the bounce area. Now, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about what I'm actually looking at, and I'm going to talk about why Bitcoin is looking much worse than I originally thought. If you don't know who I am, my name is 𝗏𝗏. I do these updates every single day, 5 to 10 minutes. So, you can just tune in and see where my mind is at. I think we've been doing pretty okay. So if you look at this 9 days ago, I said that this is the same pattern playing out in October top when I tweeted about the October top. And now, so if you've been following along, I think you've done pretty well. So subscribe to the channel, turn about notifications on, and also join in to the community, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Links in the description. But let's go. So I've been on, if you've been watching the channel, you know that I've been on this 60,000 forever. I said sub 60,000. The reason why I've been saying sub 60,000 is because if you've missed the plot, is simply because if you look at the daily chart, this is a downtrending market. You see, you have a top, you have a break here, a 50 retrace and a dump, and the 50 retrace and a dump, and a 50 retrace, and then what comes next? A dump, right? So until we have a higher high formed on the day, that is just going to be the pattern. And this is what we've seen previously, and that is what we are going to see continuing, continuously until we have a higher high. So the 60,000 level came from the fact that I knew that we have to take out at least this level, which is the 59,843, because that's just the new low. Now this didn't change. So even if we have a retrace, which I've been expecting yesterday, gonna talk about it in a second, even if we have a little bit of retrace, this did not change. I still believe we're going to sub 60,000. The reason why I think it's looking much worse than I originally thought is because I actually thought that this whole situation was just gonna happen without MicroStrategy's FUD, without all the stuff that you see now across the board. And a lot of people are looking for excuses why the market is actually going down. But the fact is that it is just going down because that's the fucking market. Because this is the downtrending market, and this was the timing, and we got into an order block, we got into a supply zone, and just simply selling off. So it's not because of all the MicroStrategy fraud. I don't know how, even though if you want to believe that, it could have been the catalyst. But the problem is, if this thing starts escalating out of hand, even if it's only on the narrative level, this could escalate extremely fast. Why? A lot of people, whether it's a mental stop or an actual stop loss, place their stop losses below this low. Why? Bitcoin rallied about 30%, 37% from this level down here, and a lot of people thought that this was the bottom. A lot of people went long both spot, even people that, I'm good friends with, and I told them don't do it. They actually did. All the way up here, 72, 73, 75. And so those people's last hope is this one down here, this level at $60,000. If this level gets breached, two things happen. One, there will be a cascade of liquidations. Why? Because there's a lot of hedge funds, there's a lot of big money, there's a lot of retail that does have their stop losses here, and they're still hoping that this here is a very strong demand zone, which is it not, because it didn't break any higher level. Talk about this all the time on the show. So that's one thing, liquidation cascade. That alone will send Bitcoin down to 57, that cascade. And then if we start closing below on the daily, on the 4-hour and whatnot, what you will see is the confidence loss that is going to happen. There will be people looking at this and be like, holy shit, Bitcoin rallied 34%, especially the newcomers. Because if you've been here, I've been here since 2016. I've seen this multiple times. You've seen these bear market rallies all across the board, a lot of times. But the newcomers haven't. And if you look at this, they'll be like, holy shit, Bitcoin rallied 34%, which is like 3 years gain in the S&P on average, and then smashed down in less than a week. Well, must be something wrong. And those people with their mental stop start selling into this, which easily could send Bitcoin down to like the 50s, to like the mid 53, 54, 55. So what am I going to do now? And what do I see short-term, long-term? Short-term important. Yesterday, I've been telling you about this on the update. By the way, these are designed that you have to come back every day. So the reason why I always say subscribe is because if you follow every single day, you follow the thought process of my thought process, and you can navigate the market I do. But if you miss one and not do one, it's not going to work. So Yesterday I told you that the reason why I took this scalp long up here is because I've seen this market structure shift to 15-minute down here, right? So this was a clear market structure shift, and even liquidity was building on top. I was very confident we're gonna get a pop, right? It was a small scalp position, but still. And it just simply got obliterated, and then from there, from our stop loss, dumped another 7%, right? So what I see is still that we can have this little retrace. I'd rather look at it on the 4-hour, to be honest. I still see that we can potentially have this retrace all the way up here to the $68,000, potentially on the daily up here at like 72,000, but ultimately it is all just building liquidity. So that's one of the scenarios. If I see a market structure shift to the upside, I'm going to long again, scalp long, small position. And if I see all the way retrace here, then I'm going to update you, but I'm going to add to the position and open heavier shorts. The second scenario is that this thing is just start spiraling out. As I said, like it doesn't take a lot. Now, let's not forget that 60,000 about 5%. Just yesterday, the market dumped like 10%. So we're not that far away. We're not that far away from that 60,000 level. And if that starts liquidating, then, you know, what I explained happens. And this is why I told you in the community yesterday that I actually moved my stop, my TP on my short positions from 60,000 all the way down to 55 is because this cascade can really take out a lot of positions and can just be a wick and the reversal. And here's the higher time frame image, okay? Because I do believe that this could potentially be the bottom. Now, when we call for the bottoms, and I posted this, and please go and watch this because it's relevant. It's going to be on top of the description. Please watch this because it's for all the haters and all the people that are just coming here and just telling us shit and whatever. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, please, just don't hate. All that, okay? Let this be a lesson. You know, just look at this, listen to this. But all I'm saying is, when I start calling for the bottom, I don't know if that is the bottom. I have no idea. All I can do is look at the market and say, what am I going to do? One thing I'm going to do is start opening up Pionex bots because I've got money parked there. I know you have money parked there, and I'm waiting for the right moment. And we might be at the right moment very, very soon. We're opening up bots does make sense, okay? Second is, I do believe that I'm still gonna wait for at least a 4-hour market structure shift, meaning a higher high. So if we come down, this is a very, 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 very strong order block, right? So if we come all the way up here, by the way, but this here, this wick. So if we come down here at like 52,000, I mean, it's stupid not to open along. Even if we go down to the next potential, it'll be at like, you know, 35, 40. I just don't think it happens. No one knows what's going to happen. But ultimately, I just think it will be an amazing opportunity. If we get down to 52, I'm definitely opening up bots and, you know, getting into the market. But even if we just liquidate down here, all I'm going to look for is a 4-hour market structure shift or an hourly market structure shift. And if that happens, I do think it's worth longing with size and then ride it all the way back up here and hope that it is actually breaking above the daily. And once that happens, that is game on. And then we're targeting at least 60, 70, 80%, which I believe is going to happen. Couple of things I wanted to tell you. So TLDR, I am bearish. I think we go. I'm pretty confident we go below 60,000, possibly below 55,000. I'm going to look for a reversal. I'm going to let you know in the community when that happens. I also wanted to tell you one more thing, and that is that we do have an amazing campaign running with 2bit. It's for the people who already signed up. If you haven't, well, you can sign up and use this as well. But if you signed up and you want a $100 bonus, very simple to get it is you go into the exchange, you log in. There is a link in the description. It's going to be the second link. You look at the second link. You open this up. There will be a register here button. Okay, it's going to be here, a register here. You click on there and you deposit a certain amount. Depending on how much you deposit, you get a bonus. I think you should use it as the first 500 participants only. So go and check that out. Link in the description, the second link, and also in the pinned comments. Guys, appreciate you being here. I truly do. It's been a very draining, mentally, physically, psychologically draining 2 months with all the hate and all the negativity and all that. But the fact that Bitcoin dumped from 7,000 to almost 60,000 as I've been basically streaming from the top of my lung, I'm very grateful for you being here. And also it makes us stronger, a little bit stronger every single time. And we go and march and do that. Turn your bell notifications on. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.